Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Novati Shohaida binti Mat Danori. My matric number is AE180008. So today I would like to demonstrate the question that have been done in the lab 4. So here is the question number 1. Before doing the soldering process, explain the things to pay attention to. So before we start the soldering process, the thing that we need to pay attention is know the soldering iron safety. The soldering iron safety that we need to pay attention is do not touch the element or tips of the soldering iron. This is because the soldering iron can reach temperature of 400 degrees Celsius. To improve the heat transfer from the soldering iron to the item that we want to solder, we need to prepare the soldering iron by thinning the tips with the solder. Thinning process can protect the tips and reduce wear. So to clean the tips of the soldering iron, a damp wet sponge will be used to wipe it. To prevent the accidental burns, we can use a soldering iron stand and in a well ventilated area. Then the fume will be released when the soldering iron is heated, and it may harmful our eyes and lung. So it recommend to use a fume extractor where it can absorb the harmful fumes. Next, we need to wear the safety glasses in order to prevent the accidental or splashes hot solder. Then we go to the next question. State the equipment used to perform the soldering process. So the equipment that we use is a solder wire, wire cutter, soldering station, soldering sucker, soldering stand, soldering iron, damp wet sponge, and safety glasses.
Hi, my name is Nurina Bila binti Nur Azman. I will present question number 3, which is describe the things to pay attention when installing components on PCB. When we talk about pay attention when installing components on PCB, is we need to rearrange them accordingly by their own functions. For example, like resistor and capacitor and the LED, we need to separate them nicely, and as a general rule, to keep the noises signal away from the most sensitive ones, so we had a better control over their path if you keep organizing components according to their functions. So the second one is keep components away from heat dissipating area. So the voltage regulator warms up dramatically in high power situations. To boost the heat dissipation rate, students probably include some heat dissipating passive components. So the other components should not be placed near the regulator though. So when employing a power OM or another heat emitting device, so the rules need to be applied. Okay, so the next one is to place a board to wire connectors near the edge. So we need to keep the board to wire connectors at the edge of the board for system technicians and professionals, including ourselves. Especially the wire needs to be bolted on. So not only does it seem neater, but it also prevents the connectors from coming into contact with other components on the PCB. So the next one, last one, is to get component orientation standardized. So a pin has one marker, it's present on all ICs, so regardless of the footprints. So if the user ourselves don't want the assembler to complete every time we need to set a design, so make sure that all facing the same way. So as a result, the assembly process become more efficient, a placement error are reduced. As for question number 4, this is the 3D visualizations for the top view and bottom view from our group. As
very good evening. So this is my part. Question number 5. In fabrication of printed circuit boards, base soldering is about soldering procedure. Soldering is passed over a pan of solder where arc plates are standing like a belly of solder. Components are connected to the circuit board. The circuit board makes contact with the wave. Wave soldering is utilized for both and surface mounted printed circuit assemblies. Before being run through the solder wave, the components are attached onto the surface of the PCB board using placement equipment. Wave soldering is mostly utilized for through-hole component soldering. Induction soldering uses a copper coil that is heated by a high-frequency alternating current. As a result of the increased resistance of a joint compared to the surrounding metal, currents are generated versus heat. These copper coils can be shaped more precisely fit the surface below metal which is cooked at low temperature. Induction soldering frequently uses fluxes. This technique is especially well adapted to conveyor soldering, which keeps coils wrap around the cylinder or pipe to be soldered. As for the discussion part, therefore we learn on electronic PCB using soldering desoldering procedures. Soldering is the process of employing solder metal to metal bond. Soldering is made up of three components: solder, heat, and flux. The purpose of soldering procedure is to ensure conductivity between the board and the component as well as secure both items in place. Soldering iron is used to provide heat. Flux is a chemical mixture that cleanses the hot surface in preparation of the molten solder. The soldering station, soldering irons, wrench are the most crucial tools for the soldering process. So, the most crucial consideration to the soldering process is safety. So, that's it for my part. Thank you.
A conclusion for this experiment itself, the students has learned about on how to improve the technique in soldering and also desoldering. Soldering is a method of attaching two or more metals items by melting and flowing a filler metal into the joints. So student has made this easier and to the soldering techniques. Student enhance this process and this project has moving along nicely. Students use electronic soldering to attach electrical wiring and electrical components such as capacitor, resistor, LED, and other things as well. So lastly, in this experiment, really achieving to place a component on a PCB or remove it from the board. So soldering and desoldering are used in this experiment. Thank you.